Hey guys, Gathering Magic back again, and it's part two of the Splinterlands card market watch for Sunday, October 26, 2025. So we're going to do a deep dive into the card market, into all the different sets, all the different foils, different rarities, just so you guys can see the current prices and how many are on the marketplace. So starting with Alpha, these are the Alpha Commons, starting at 20 cents for the Spineback Turtle, all the way up to $9.69 for the animated corpse. There's only two on the market, and you can see these are both single copies, so definitely do not purchase these single copies at these prices. This should be more of a 20 to 30 cent card. So these are your Alpha Common cards. Moving on to the rares. Now we're hitting $1 for the floor, or for Alpha Rares, all the way up to $120 for the Serpentine Soldier, and this is for a max copy card. Alpha cards only needed 86 of each rare to hit max level. Moving on now to the Epics. Now the Epics start at $2.75 for Mischievous Mermaid, $14.88 for the Dark Enchantress. That is for a single copy, but as you can see here, there's also a level 6 for around $13 a copy. And then finally, your legendary cards for Alpha. There's only, as you can see here, 9 in the set, so all 9 are represented here. Anywhere from a single copy of the Gold Dragon, $166.25, up to, what is the most we have here, 6 copies. So just a handful of Alpha legendary cards on the marketplace. And then moving to gold foils. So last week, or 2 weeks ago, the last market watch, I picked up a copy of Fire Beetle. You can see here I own one for $7. There's another one there for $7. There's a Saber Shark for $8.99. Goblin Shaman for $9. So anytime you can pick up an Alpha Gold card for under $10, I think that's kind of a no-brainer. You know, these are just absolutely beautiful cards, ultra limited. These are your original chase cards, and to get them this cheap is just kind of ridiculous in my opinion. You know, if you can pick up any of these, you know, under 10, 15 bucks even, you know, just to have in your collection, I think they are awesome. Beautiful cards here, as you can see, all the way up to the Minotaur Warrior, $300, simply because most of these cards are only 1 or 2 on the marketplace, so not very many of these Alpha Commons gold foils. Moving to the rares, now the prices go up. $35 for the Clay Golem, then you're up to about $44 for the Soldier, and then it jumps to $60 for your next card, which is an Archon. So here are your prices for the Alpha Gold Rares. There are 20 in the set, but you can see here there's only 15 of the 20 even available for sale. Next are your Epics. So your Epics start at $299.99 for Mischievous Mermaid, all the way up to $1,400 for Swamp Thing. And then your legendary cards, there are 5 available. I think a couple of these were listed just in the last hour or so. Lord of Darkness at $1,150, Angel of Light at $2,000, Selenia Sky at $9,500, Spirit of the Forest and Gold Dragon both at $15,000 apiece. And just if you are curious, like for the Gold Dragon, there's only 24 of these cards in circulation. Spirit of the Forest, there's only 17. Selenia Sky, there's only 22. Angel of Light, there's 13, so that one's the rarest so far. And Lord of Darkness, there's 21. So just a handful of any of these cards are even in existence, let alone for sale. Okay, so now let's look at the Alpha promo cards. So there was one promo card of each rarity in the set. So as it loads the correct picture, here we go. Dragon Whelp, $7.76 is your common. Nebseni, the rare, is at $240. There is no epic listed, and then Shinlo, the legendary, is at $199. Gold foil, same thing. There's no epic. Common at $99, rare at $400, and the legendary at $1,234. And that is it for your Alpha cards. Okay, moving on to Beta. Let's just look at core Beta and the reward cards for Beta. So starting with your regular foil commons, once again, 5 cents is the floor. Seems to have been the floor for quite a while. All the way up to, you can see, even for commons, there's not really a whole lot of cards for sale. You know, under 100 it looks like for almost all of these. All the way up to $1.04 for the turtle. Next are your rare cards. Your rare cards for beta start at 24 cents. Funny, the cheapest one is an Archon. 24 cents all the way to 67 cents for the chicken. I remember last time, what was that, in the 30s? So this one fluctuates quite a bit. All the way up to $2.44 for the Serpentine Mystic. Your epic cards start at 65 cents for the Air Elemental. All the way up to, most expensive is the Magi Sphinx. And that is for an individual copy, but you can see here, if you have one that's leveled up, like this is a max level card, you're paying just under $2 a card. So that seems to be the going price for this card. So definitely don't pay $30 for a single card. And then finally your legendaries start over $4, Sacred Unicorn and Spirit Miner. All the way up to some key cards. Look at Plato is sitting here at $63.73 for a max copy. Some other key cards in the set. Prince Renan, $33.63. Let's see, that is for a single copy. But if you get a max copy, you can get a max copy for right around $9 a card. Let's see, also we have Lord Arianus, we have the Peak Rider, Valdemar sitting at 26, Lord of Darkness 1610, Cryptmancer at just under 15. Those are your beta legendary cards. Now your gold foil commons, just under $2 is the floor for a common gold foil. All the way up to the most expensive common currently is the Exploding Dwarf at $18.49. And this is basically for a 2 BCX card, it looks like. Nope, $18.49. That is for 5 cards, which make it a level 6. You're paying just under $3.70 a card. Next are your rares. Your rares start at $6.73 for the chicken. All the way up to $215 for Pit Ogre. Take a quick peek at the summoners. Look at the price range in summoners, from $13.49 up to $62. I wouldn't think that one should be the most expensive, especially if you've got Alric at $45. So these 3 might be pretty good pickup under $20 compared to these prices. I think these are high a little bit and these are a little bit low. I would think in the 20 to 30 range, maybe Alric being 35 to 40 would be my guess on prices. Your epics start at 35, all the way up to 350 for Serpent of the Flame. And then finally your gold legendaries, Korjak at 350, all the way up to Valdemar and Prince Renan, 4,000 apiece. You can see these are the only ones on the market. Valdemar, there's only 48 golds in existence. And Prince Renan, there is 41. Okay, that's it for Beta Corn Reward. Let's look at the Beta promo cards. So these are your regular foil promo cards. Went through these on part 1. Just recap real quick. Delwyn, the Archon, 20 cents. The Bowman, the Rare at 40. Epic, Fiendish Harpy, 88 cents. Red Dragon, $6.15. And then Archmage Arius and Prince Julian at $4.99. And then your gold foil versions. Delwyn is at $3.99. The Bowman is at $18.94. The Fiendish Harpy at $180, and Red Dragon at $4.50. Okay, let's take a look at Orb. Very small set, so this will go quick. Goblin Chef, 5 cents, all the way up to Armor Smith at 22. Your rares, very tight range, 21 to 24 cents for these 3 cards. Epics, we have both listed, $1.22 for the Dwarven Wizard, Mermaid Healer at $1.46, and then your 3 legendary cards, Minotaur Warlord at $3.87, Lord of Fire at $4.21, Corrupted Pegasus at $9.49. And then the gold versions of these cards range $1.74 to $2.20 for the gold commons. Your gold rares, $7.99 to $11.88. I think this is the first time in many, many months that there's been both of the gold foil epics for this set. So it's usually just the wizard. So he's at $48.98, and then the Mermaid Healer is at $73. And then finally the legendaries, Lord of Fire at $300, and the Minotaur Warlord at $6.50. All right, next let's move to Untamed core and reward cards. Just your commons starting at a penny. And then moving up to, still very affordable. Most expensive is only 10 cents, and that's for the fighter. Usually the most expensive, as you guys know, is like Failed Summoner, only 5 cents. Sandworm, only 8. Serpentine Spy at 3 cents. So fantastic pickup. Some of these cards are just so good. Parasitic Growth neutral, Opportunity for 2 cents. So if you play in Wild, there's a good chance to pick up a lot of these cards. All right, rares. So your rares start at 4 cents. You can see a decent amount of all of these on the marketplace. All the way up to 80 cents for Shield Breaker. Let's look at the Archons. 7 cents. Look at this. 7 cents, 9 cents, 12, 21. So if Survival comes back, you guys need some Archons. Definitely check out Untamed. And you can pick some of these up very, very cheap. Next are your Epics. They start 17, 18 cents and up. All the way up to $7 for Thunderbird. That is for an individual card, but you can see here a level 5, you're paying about 26 cents a piece. That seems more reasonable. Don't pay $7 for a single BCX of that card. And then finally, your legendaries start at 85 cents for Robo Dragon Knight. All the way up to some of the key cards in the set. Kron is at $5.45, Llama at $16.90, Jotun at $18.81, and Kitty at $33.98. Mimosa you can pick up for $5, guys, if you are interested in a legendary summoner. Even Chansey is sitting there at 8. All right, let's look at the golds. Your gold commons start at just over 40 cents, so 41 cents for a gold common from Untamed. All the way up to Cursed Slime Ball for $2.40. Failed Summoner you can see here for $1.50. Serpentine Spy 68 cents. Sandworm 76 cents. Your rares, which also have some Archons. So look at this. Cheapest one is an Archon, $1.66 for a gold Archon. All the way up to, most expensive is not Shield Bearer. It is Giant Squid at $14.44. Let's take a look at the Archons. Yeah, $1.66, $2, $2.55. So Contessa might be a little, well, that's for a single copy. I think that's a little bit high for Contessa, especially compared to the others. Usually Bortus is the most expensive, but yeah, these at 2 and under, those are pretty good buys, I would say. Next are your Epics. They start at just under $10. All the way up to 84, Hero of the Beyond, and that is for a level 5, so there's no individual copies on the marketplace. So individual copies of him look like they'd be about 12, so looks like about 10 to 20 bucks is the range for a gold epic. And then finally your legendaries start at just under $90. You can see here just a few of each of these on the marketplace. Looks like 3 or less. There's 5 Krons, 5 Jodens, 3 Almos, only 1 Kitty for $2,000. Okay, so next let's look at the promo cards from Untamed. Regular foil, Halfling Alchemist at 71 cents, only 4 on the market. Chain Golem, $21. Mighty Dricken, just under 150. And then the gold versions, Halfling Alchemist, just under 30. Chain Golem at 71. Okay, let's move on to dice. Very small set. 1 cent to 36 cents for the battering ram. Really? I'm like, why is battering ram 36 cents? There was a buyout. Yep, there was a buyout, and then someone bought a bunch, listed them at 36 cents. So this basically should be an 8-cent card, as you can see here, compared to the other ones. Usually it's the most expensive of the commons, but yeah, I wouldn't pay over 8 to 10 cents for an individual copy. So wait for the price on that to come down. Sorry, who's ever selling that. Your rares, your archons, you're looking at 6 to 55 cents. Mylor under 50 cents. Look at that. But yeah, for survival, definitely don't forget about some of these older sets to pick up some very cheap archons. Next are your epics, 20 to 35 cents here. And then finally your legendary cards. So look at Epona. Epona under just almost under $8 at $8.18. Krallis at $14.99. And there's a handful of these, or actually most of these, you can pick up for under $3 a piece. Your gold foils, gold foil commons, 41 to 89 cents here. Your rares, 218 to 14.74 for Mylar. So once again, if you can pick up a gold Archon for like under $5, even Lorna Shine at 6, good prices there for those. Your epics, 9.90 to 11.43. And then finally your gold legendaries, $80 for the Oaken Behemoth, up to $277 for Krallis. How many of these are in? There's only 79 of these in circulation. All right, so moving on to everyone's favorite, Chaos Legion. Regular foil will not surprise anyone. There are many, many, many of these cards, mostly all at a penny. You've got the Goblin Psychic and Deep Lurker at 2 cents and Scavo at 5 cents. Your rares start at 2 cents and move all the way up to 13 cents. Surprisingly, Thaddeus Brood is the most expensive rare currently. Your regular foil epics start at 7 cents because DEC is so far under peg, up to 20 cents for Igor. And then your legendary cards are down to 35 cents is the cheapest, all the way to $1.85 for Bakjira. Just for fun, let's look at the Archons. Look at this. You can pick up some legendary summoners, Archons, for under $1. Quix the Devious, 91 cents. Astral Entity, 89 cents. Okay, next let's look at the gold foils. So your gold foil commons start 12 cents. All the way up to, most expensive is usually Scavo Hireling, currently at 53 cents. And you guys know I love these things for land, so let's look at max level to see how many max level copies are available to buy. Look at this. You can pick up a Hardy Stonefish max gold foil for under $4. So if you're looking for a water card, $3.84. And look at these, a very good variety, under $5. And decent amount. You know, there's 12 Radiated Brutes, 7 Scavo Chemist, there's 6 of the Pelgor Conjurer, Gargoyle Lion, under 5. So you can see here, you've got your choice basically of any splinter for a lot of these at under $5. So if you're looking to continue to build out land, don't overlook these gold foil commons. They will give you 2,000 production points. Okay, let's move to the rares. So now the rares are hitting at 70 to about 75 cents for the cheapest ones, all the way up to most expensive, Kelly at 109 and the infantry at 111. So how much would you pay for a max level gold rare? These have come down as well. I remember, what was it, 18 to 23 bucks. So now you're looking at about 16 to $17 is the floor for a max gold rare. But you can see not very many of most of these. I mean, there are 7 General Sloans, but a lot of these are just 1 or 2 copies. All the way up to, you can see most all of these are 1 or 2 copies. Up to 35 for Kelia. But if you ignore just the top 2, you're looking at $22. So $16 to $22 will get you a max gold rare from Chaos Legion for 4,000 points. And then my favorite rarity, the epics, you're looking at $3.17 up to $3.88. So very tight range, in the $3 range for all of these cards. Max level, how many are available? You're looking at, wow, 28. That is a good deal. That is a very good deal. That's $28 a card, 30, so $3 a card. Yep, very good prices here. Most expensive is 40, the revealer. This used to be kind of the middle. You know, you'd expect to pay 35 to maybe 48, somewhere in that range. So prices on these have come down a little bit. So once again, if you're looking to fill out with a little bit more production points and you're willing to spend a little bit more money, these things do give you 6,000 points for a max level. And then finally the legendary cards. So we've hit that $20 floor. See if we go under that in a couple of weeks, but currently $20 is the floor for a gold legendary. And your most expensive is currently $93.10. This is probably a max level. Yep, couple max level ones for in the 90s. A couple individual cards. Do not buy those for 90 to 100 each. So it looks like basically 20 to 30 is the range for almost all these gold foil legendary cards. Yep, that's for 2 copies. Yep, 20 to 30 bucks will get you a gold legendary from Chaos Legion. Okay, so now let's look at the reward cards, the soulbound cards. So your regular foils, 4 to 11 cents. You can see the amounts here on the market. Your rares, 20 cents to 42 cents. Your epics, 97 cents to 11.69. But if you get a max copy, you're looking at 82, almost 83 cents a card. So you can get a max copy of Noah for 38. And then finally your legendary cards, all 12 cards are represented here, ranging from $4 to $50. Usut, this is for a max level, so it looks like it's about $4.50 a card. Okay, let's look at your gold commons, 99 cents to 2.45. The rares, 3.39 to 50. You can see how expensive some of the archons were. Epics, $20 to 69.25. And then finally your gold legendaries, which a lot of people did not unlock, 79 to 125. And there's not very many of these on the market. As you can see, out of the 12, only 5 are listed. There was 1,729 printed of this card, but only 8 are unbound. So these cards are extremely rare. People did not want to pay all the DEC up front to unlock these things. Kulu, there's 22. Avis, there's 24. So not very many of these on the market. Okay, let's look next at the promo cards. Let's look at the regular foil. So went through all these prices in part 1, but let's take a look also at how many are in circulation on the market. So the Bear is at 4 cents, Vruz at 8, Zuriel at 3.44, Dr. Blight at 5.60, Oshur at 6.48, Waka $45, 8 on the market, And Lux Vega, $99.90, 11 on the market. And then the gold foil versions, Bruise at 90 cents, Archimus the Bear at 132, Dr. Blight at 33, Zerial at 41.79, Osher at $77.29, Waka at 2,000, and Lux Vega at 2,500. Okay, next is Rift Watchers. So a penny for the cheapest Rift Watcher Common, up to 25 cents for Coastal Nymph. Rares go from 2 cents up to 25 cents for Queen of Crows. Your epics, 20 cents for Thispa, up to 54 cents. Look at this, Dallin, you made it, buddy. You made it. You are the top Archon in Rift Watchers, at least for the epics. And then your legendaries, Runemancer's at 90 cents, up to Inevitable, still holding $10 at $10.71. And your golds, 15 to 85 cents for the commons. Your rares, 71 cents up to 6.65 for Corsair Boson. Your epics, 340 for Dallin, up to 8.88 for Ilthane. And then your gold legendaries, look at this, Agar's the cheapest at 27.37. How is he cheaper than Runemancer? And how is Runemancer Kai cheaper than? Yeah, this is kind of backwards. This should be the cheapest legendary, you would think. So I think he's underpriced. Thinking he should be more in the $40 to $45 range. You can see the most expensive is Kane Haste. Individual card 143, but leveled up card is 75. So that is it for Rift Watchers. Okay, so now let's move on to Rebellion. So let's look at Core Rebellion. So your common cards are a penny, all the way up to the Archons. The dual ones are 54 cents for Dulfar. Your rare cards start at 6-7 cents is the floor here. All the way up to Prophet Rosa at 9.04. No individual copies. So you've got 6 max copies, and you've got a level 4. You can see here right around 35 cents a card is what you should expect to pay. Your epics start at 22 cents, then jump to 44 cents for Karst Harpy, all the way to $1.70 for the Scion. And then finally your legendary cards, and we went through all the key cards in part 1, but want to just show you guys the current market, how many are on the marketplace listed for sale. So anywhere in the 10s and 20s, it looks like, for most of these. Rune Seer, there's only 6. $15 Tofu's down to 35. A Cane, there's only 8. Okay, then gold foil. Gold foil commons start at 34 cents. Up to $7 for Zedica. Your rares, 65 cents for the Goblin Sniper. Up to 14 for Moxine Rebel. $4.75 for the Hatchling is the cheapest epic. Up to $23 for Thanalorian Scion. And then finally your gold legendaries. Once again, we went through the key cards in part 1. Cheapest one is Commander Goff at $22. Up to $219 for Venka the Vile. All right, next let's look at the promo cards. Once again, we looked at these in part 1, but just to kind of show you current prices and how many are on the market. So these are the regular foils. going from Mana Warden, 14 cents, up to $699 for Heloise the Hollow. And then the gold versions, Mana Warden again, $1.23, up to $399 for Eleanor Bravefoot. So those are your common cards. And then the reward cards. So you can see here I've got to figure out what I want to do with all these. I didn't combine any of them. I was trying to see if I could get enough to get them max level. Definitely that did not happen. So do I want to level these to, 8 and 9, or do I just want to burn them for glint since I have gold versions that are not quite as high? So still debating on what I want to do with these. You can see here they're all 3 to 4 cents for the commons. Your rares, 14 cents. These are all 14 cents earlier. Now Commander Slade is 17 cents. Epics, 78 cents up to 88 cents for the Weaver. And then finally, our legendary cards are $4 to $6 is the range right now. $4 for the Chieftain and $5.90 for Death Ranger. And then let's look at the gold foil versions. So gold foils, you can see go 90 cents to $2.30. The rares, $4.98 up to $12.57. Your epics, $23.99 for the Weaver up to $53 for Shock Trooper. And no gold foil legendaries. Once again, people did not want to spend all the DEC to unlock them and then get stuck with not being able to sell them. That's why I'm so excited with the new reward cards that are gold, that they are automatically tradable and sellable. All right, so now let's move Conclave Arcana. So just the core set, regular foil commons, looking at 2 cents to 11 cents. Huge amount of these on the market. Next for the rares, starting at 10, 11 cents. And how are the Archons doing? So some of the Archons have actually gone under $1. So you got Gorgug at 69 cents, Kavor at 88 cents, but the other ones are still holding above $1. Fife is sitting at $1.12, Bella at $1.29, and then Razzie and Kalia at $1.46 a piece. Your epics, starting at 47 cents, all the way up to $1.10. And then finally your legendaries, Decrepit Windseer at $3.19. He is the cheapest. And then Sheng Xiao is at $11.98. The newest card, Calamity, $6.35. And then your gold foil cards, commons, look at this, 31 cents for gold commons. All the way up to 68 cents for Cavewise Wayfinder. Now your rares, they start at $1.55. All the way up to your Archons. This is another card I wanted to point out to you guys. So you're looking at $1.46, so let's say $1.50 for a regular foil. Takes 5 of them to level 2, so that would cost you $7.50. So for $7.12, a little bit cheaper, you can get a gold foil that's going to give you a 10% bonus. So however many of these are under $7.50, I think, are a very good buy. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of these I think are very undervalued. So whoever's listening to this, if you're interested in leveling that card, cheaper than the regular foil, and it's an Archon, definitely check that one out. Kavor is at $7.20, Bella at $8.99, Fifth at $9.03, and then Razzie at $11.25. Okay, your epics, $6.75 for Flame Eye, up to $8.41 for Blazebeard Merc. And then finally your legendary cards. The floor is holding very strong at $42 for the cheapest, but the top end has come down. This was like a $150-$200 card. Now it's down to $92. 142 in circulation, so there's a decent amount of these cards. But just wanted to point that out where, You know, the higher end has been coming down, but the floor is not really moving down much either. So very tight range on these cards. So now that we've looked at the gold, now we can look at the black variant. So your commons, $78, $80 is the floor for the commons, up to 120. Your rares, 195 to 900. Just beautiful cards, just awesome. I love the black background. These things really pop. Your epics, 450 to 533. And your only legendary, Zarin the Scorch, at $1,000. Okay, your gold variants, these are it. This is all the different rarities for your gold variants. So the commons, $70 to 200. The rares, $134.99. 3 available. No epics, no legendaries. And then your black foil, the only one that is on the market currently is the Hucker at 400. Okay, extra, the Fanatic, 78 cents for the regular foil and $13.75 for the gold. And then the new cards, it just came out this week, your reward cards. So your commons, 3 to 4 cents. Your rares, 9 cents up to 29 cents. Your epics, there's only these 67 cents to $1.73. And then finally your legendaries, $5.90 up to $14.85. And then the gold ones are the ones that are automatically unlockable, tradable, sellable. 45 cents to $1 for the commons. $2.45 to $3.99 for the rare. Epics, $9.87 to $13.60. And legendary, $54 to $200. All right, we can also look at, because some of these have been released in the first raffle, your black foils. So these are all the black foil cards. Commons, 100 to 172.50. Only one rare at $2.50 for the Badger. No epics. And 2 legendary cards, $9.99 and $1,700. And then your gold variants, it's only these 2, a common for $65 and a rare for $50. And then finally your black variant, your black arcane, Husk of the Hunter, $149, Pixie Knife Hurler for $630, and Dragon Fang Lancer at $5,000. All right, so the last thing to look at is for Frontier Mode, the Foundation cards. So let's look at regular foil. Commons probably won't surprise anyone. Basically just 1 to 2 cents for the common cards. Rares, 1 cent, and the Archons are currently selling 10 to 24 cents. Your epics, 3 cents up to 48 cents for Glimmermancer. So a couple of these have gone up in price over the last couple weeks. And then finally your 7 legendary cards range from 7 cents up to $1.82 for the Scale Weaver. Your gold versions, 2 cents all the way up to $1.50 for the Minion. Is that for, that's for a single copy. Yeah, I wouldn't pay $1.50 for that. But once again, someone probably bought all these out, and now there's only a couple on the marketplace. So you can get a max level one for $7.50. Even that's a little bit high. Who knows? Maybe these things will go on the rise. But you can see most of these are, under 20 cents for the commons at least. Rares, you're looking at 11, 12 cents, all the way up to the Archons, which range from 83 cents to $2.51. Your epics, 59 cents for the Horse Tamer, up to $6 for the Ash Archer. Usually it's the Saltwater Mage. So this one, as you can see, it's the only one on the marketplace, so that's why it is listed at $6. This is probably more of a, I would say somewhere in here, 70-cent card, maybe 50-cent card. And then finally the legendary cards, gold foil, 276 up to 945 for the Scale Weaver. Okay, the black arcane cards. Commons, look at, you can get some of these cards under $6. I've already bought a couple of them. Up to $90. For the rares, now you're looking at $9, $10 are the cheapest ones. Up to $84.60. Your epics, $15 for Lenore Nevermore, up to $65.38 for Lady Amara. And then finally your legendary cards, $395 for the Salamander, $555.89 for Little Sister, and $900 for Great Bear Druid. Now for the arcanes, so the gold common arcanes, looking at $10 basically, all the way up to $130. Your rares, $44 for the Incessant Sage, $50 for, yeah, that card, however you say that. I will just call it the Unicorn. No epics. And 2 legendaries, look at this. Mystic Scale Weaver. So this is mint number 2 of 5 for $270, and I believe 2 of these have been pulled. Yep. So 2 of these were pulled a couple weeks ago, so extremely rare. But the Black Arcane 1 of 1 has not been pulled yet, and none of the 10 black foils have been pulled yet. Okay, so let's look finally at your Black Arcane. These are your 4 commons that are listed for sale. 4 rares, $99 up to $300. No epics and no legendaries. And I think, is that finally it? Did we cover everything? I don't think we missed anything. Okay, guys, there you have it. There is the Market Watch Part 2 deep dive for October 26, 2025. So tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, will be the raffle drawing for Frontier. So hope you guys have got all your raffle tickets ready. Let's see, how many do I have for tomorrow? Only 30. So with the new rewards coming out and trying to play between Frontier and Modern, kind of hard to play both of them, and you know, there's just so much time in the day. So I've got 30 entries here. I believe I have 45 entries on one of my other accounts. So we'll definitely be doing a video tomorrow morning just to check my account, see if I won. And then, of course, I will go through the winners list to see if I recognize any of the names there. I did recognize a lot of names for Modern, so hopefully I will see your guys' name on the list tomorrow morning. So until then, stay the course, keep on frontiering, and have fun. Take care.